Last night while I was awake, I thought I heard a clank of one of our pots. We hang our pots up when we've cooked in them, and we figure they smell like food.
If we can't fit them in the sack.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all there.
But here they are, so they seem to be okay and untouched.
When the sack's not so overfull of food, then we put our pots and all our hygiene and everything in the sack, but the sacks are overflowing with food.
So there are earth sacks. They seem to be okay as well, although we haven't inspected them closely. So I have my pole to try to wave to scare any bears away. It's always so pleasant to hear the birds singing in the morning. This was an okay place to sleep. It was very mosquito-y last night and this morning, so not very pleasant to spend our time outside the tent. But once we got in the tent, it was fine. We don't seem to have been visited or bothered by any bears last night, so thank the Lord for that. And we're about to hit the trail. We're finding the trail overgrown and a little slow to get through blowdowns. This forest looks a lot like Western Washington in that it has a lot of undergrowth, not the clear floors that we've seen elsewhere here in California.
I need help.
We've had several blowdowns.
Rip my pants.
We have to get across. This is kind of a typical one.
There's these little knobbies you could rip your pants in. This trail's been a little rough, a little slow, going over obstacles. It's also a little buggy, dealing with mosquitoes. Not bad enough that it's forced us to put on our bug nets yet, though.
We don't usually choose power line rights of way to stop and have a break, but this was one where we could feel some breeze, blow the mosquitoes away, get out in the sunshine. Also seems to help keep the mosquitoes away and just have a little bit more enjoyable time. I was wondering before we found this if we were going to find a spot where we could have breakfast comfortably. So we were glad to find this, even though we are right underneath the high voltage transmission lines.
First glimpse of Shasta in a couple days. First sighting this morning.
We're wading through this overgrown vegetation.
Look at all these beautiful Christmas trees. Some beautiful nobles. They're the nice skinny type, and yet are very full. Beautiful.
I think we scored a pretty good campsite tonight. This was discussed, somebody 2 years ago put it on Far Out described how to get here, and so we found it. And that's Mount Shasta over there with the sun setting behind it. And here's our tent in the foreground, so pretty nice view. But it was very hot. Our shade today was, after we got here, was these trees, and as the sun set, the shadow kept retreating, so we kept moving ourselves to try to stay in the shade because it was warm. But right now it's kind of that golden hour. Beautiful. Shasta illuminated by the morning sun. Beautiful sight over there. We're ready to hit the trail. Mount Shasta is looking a lot closer than it used to. A commenter on Far Out had talked about snow on the trail and having to bushwhack through a really weedy area and just real difficulties in this area. That was from June 20th. Today is July 3rd. I couldn't believe that there would really be any snow up here because we've seen zero snow, but on the other hand, we haven't been up to 6,000 feet so far in this stretch. So here's just a small patch of snow, and there's another little one down there. Hopefully that's all it amounts to. It's so beautiful up here in this higher alpine. Linda wants to climb to the top of that rock just to say we've been there, but I think I'll decline. Right. This is probably the worst snag we've had to deal with anytime recently anyway. We're both on the other side of it now, but we had to basically climb over it. A lot of times they'll take you, there's someone who's made a side trail, you can go around it, but there's no way to go around that there or up top. So you pretty much had to go over it. And Linda had to take her pack off to get over it. But with care you can do it, but this is probably the worst.
We thought that last one that Brian recorded after we had climbed over it was the worst, but I'm not sure. This might top it. Brian's gonna go over with his pack, obviously. I'm gonna have to take my pack off. It's been slow going yesterday and today, with downfall and overgrowth. Oh, that pokey thing is on the bottom of your pack. Yeah, good. You lifted over it. Lift over it again. Or it'll put a hole. Okay. Yes, I will be taking off my pack. We can't go around because it's a very steep down. And there's really no way to go above it either. Okay, my turn. Okay, I'm on the other side now. It wasn't pretty, so it wasn't videoed.
And just to show you what animals we are, we did all of that before breakfast. So now we're stopping for our second breakfast.
Second breakfast. Late second breakfast.
This is the last part of a very arduous bushwhack we did.
Oh my goodness.
There was a much larger snowbank, and I don't know if there was a better way of going over it or not, but we tried to go underneath the snow and around the snowbank, but then we had to get back to the trail, and we had to crash through all of this manzanita and stuff, and it was pretty difficult. But we're back on the trail now and should be good to go. Today has been a tough day of fighting through severely overgrown trail and incredible blowdowns. There's one blowdown we went through that we didn't tape that I almost wondered if it was a blocker. How are we going to get past it? We finally had to just climb over it. But as a result, our pace has been very slow, so we're within 2 miles of where we want to spend the night, but it could be another hour before we get there. This is only the second deer I've seen on the entire trail, and I think the first one that Linda has seen. So I hear, though, that there are marauding deer at this campsite that we're going to, so we may see more of them than we really want to. The deer around here aren't worried about us much at all. The mosquitoes are really bad here this morning. There's a spring down there that we got water at, and that was welcome, but boy, the worst mosquitoes we've seen down this dirt road. Has no trespassing signs, but everybody seems to come down here to get water and to camp. So we're about to hit the trail, try to get out of this buggy place. The deer around here aren't very afraid of people. We disturbed this deer down here where it was, so it ran up the hill for a little bit. But then when we don't come on, it just goes back to its business, whatever it was doing before.
Hello. I love seeing the deer. These deer are such a pretty brown color. A little darker than some I've seen. Yeah, just pose like that. I just admire you. We won't hurt you, we just want to admire you. Oh, you're going to look at us. Hi.
We stopped at this spring to get some water and then saw that we had someone following us down the trail. This little buck here. He's tired of waiting for us. He's going to go down. He's been standing there probably for 10 minutes on the trail waiting for us to move along. Gotten tired of it. He's going to go find another place to get water.
We've seen a lot of deer today, and this one is just walking along the path in front of us. They're not terribly afraid of us. So we're just gonna go for a walk together. Oh, now he's starting to move along a little faster.
Our prayers were answered when we got to to the Ash Campground. There's trail magic. We're at this Forest Service campground. I forget what the name of it is, but I'll put the name on the screen, where we had the trail magic. And so we really appreciated that. It's been a hot day of hiking, hot several days of hiking actually, and something cold to drink was just what we were wishing for. But the trail magic is over. We're still camping here. So our campsite is over here. It's buggy. Seems like NorCal in general is buggy. Unlike what we found for Southern California, we ran into very few mosquitoes and bugs like that. There were gnats that flew around our faces, but not the bugs that bothered us while we were sitting in camp. So we're going to cook dinner and then we're going to get into the tent.